All right, welcome back, everyone, to Wasteland, an anime podcast, episode 6. My name is Nathaniel Garofalo, but I am joined, as always, by the one, the only...
Dom Esclovon. Glad to be back, folks. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing okay. It is officially Spooktober here at Wasteland, and everywhere in the world, incidentally, so kind of a good coincidence.
Spooktober. Have you dipped in anything spooky yet this season?
A little bit, but we can get into that once we get to that part of the show. What about you?
Well, I mean, if you're not going to say, I guess we'll wait until we get to that part of the show, Nathaniel.
I just had a few little housekeeping things before we
Okay, let's get to the housekeeping. I'm sorry. Right. Yeah, all let's knock that out of the way first.
All right, for sure. So, yeah, I guess the first thing is, and I guess this kind of ties into the whole Spooktober thing, but just a reminder to, I know we have a couple listeners out there. I can see some of the stats, but for everyone listening out there, if you don't know already, last episode we announced we are now on Twitter. So our over at Twitter, we are at Wasteland TV. Trying to engage with everyone there, and by everyone I mean I think we have one follower. I did reach out and ask if anyone had any spooky anime manga recommendations, and we got a little bit of traction. There were some people liking the post, but no one commented on it. So
maybe what we should do is drop some of our things that we're how we've already gone down a list of things that we enjoy. Like last week I was talking about The Promised Neverland, and before that you were talking about was it Berserk?
Yeah,
if we, I don't know if maybe we drop some of that in there, saying oh, this is what we're watching, this is what we're reading, as well as you guys mentioning what you're into, maybe we'd get more traction. Who knows? I don't know. Throwing it right there.
Yeah, well, it feels like the Wild West, Twitter right now, so we kind of do anything and probably get away with it. So yeah, anyone who wants to engage with us there, if you're listening right this second and you have some recommendations to throw our way, go check out that post on our Twitter. That's really the only housekeeping, though. But there is one little thing I want to get into really quick. I think this is important. We are an anime focused podcast. We try and keep things anime over here, but there is a giant sort of piece of news that's really affecting not only America but the globe at the moment. And I just thought we should talk about it really quick. Don't want to get too off topic here on the podcast, but it's really dominating the entire news cycle at the moment, and we have to at least address it. So I pose to you, what are your opinions on the 12-foot tall skeleton from Home Depot meme?
I have not seen it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just a 12-foot tall skeleton from Home Depot that's kind of sweeping the globe at the moment.
It depends on what globe, I guess. I haven't seen any of this. I'll look into it, though.
I mean, it's sort of I guess there's a 12-foot tall skeleton that you can get from Home Depot for $300, but all the girls, all the e-girls online are saying oh, the 12-foot tall skeleton from Home Depot, he's totally my boyfriend and he's great, and all the guys are jealous of the skeleton. Well, it's the first spooky meme of 2020, but it's 2020, so I mean, you can't, most of the hot memes this year have been about how society is
crumbling,
imminently collapsing in on itself. But all right, well, I guess that covered all of my critical housekeeping. So yeah, do you want to start us off with any spooky things you're watching and or reading this holiday season?
I actually just started watching Death Note yesterday.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, the girlfriend, she's on this whole spooktacular, spooky season, 31 days of Halloween shit. And the way that we compromised, because she wanted to watch something together, I said, well, you know what, I want to check out Death Note. And she had actually wanted to watch it as well, because she heard it was pretty spooky. So we watched, I want to say, the first 5 episodes of that last night.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, that's a huge one. I thought maybe one day we'd get to it on the show, but yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's been years since I watched it all the way through, but what did you think of the first 5 episodes?
I was pretty surprised, especially for the fact that it came out. Well, I shouldn't say I'm surprised that it came out so long ago and it's this good, because there's so much anime that I've yet to see that I know is top tier that came out like years and years ago. But I'm just blown away with the way that it's structured and how thrilling it is, because I was on the edge of my seat for most of episode 1 after Light gets the Death Note and he starts doing his thing. I don't want to give away any spoilers. I know it's like 14 years old, but I'm just getting around to it. So there's a lot of, like, it's a cat and mouse game that I wasn't really prepared for. You know, I thought it was just going to be this one thing where all I knew was that there was a notebook and people die if you write a name in it. That's literally all I knew going in. And 5 episodes in, and there's already like way more to it. And the protagonist is a fucking sociopath, and I dig it. And I can't wait to see where else it goes. So, I mean, just 5 episodes in, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm thrilled that you're into it. I mean, I think I mentioned sometime in these past 6 episodes when we talked about it briefly that Death Note was it was like the second anime I ever watched, really. And yeah, I mean, it totally blew me away. I think I've told you this in the past, like a long time ago, but so like when I was, younger, like I watched the show that everyone knows, Breaking Bad. And I was a big Breaking Bad fan for when it was airing. And then it ended.
Is that
and
to
I've
say
never.
That you're no longer a Breaking Bad fan?
Well, I mean, what I'm trying to get to is, and it's related to Death Note, but it's like when the show aired from like 2008 or whatever to 2013 or whatever. Yeah, I was like so into it, and I thought it was like the greatest thing ever. But then I grew up a little bit, and I started to think about it more, and it slowly lost kind of its luster in my eyes. And then around 2015, I think, is when I watched Death Note for the first time. And Breaking Bad is a show about a lot of things, but in a way, it's about this, to put it as simply as possible, it's a show about this genius chemistry teacher who's like going up against, there's many like antagonist type characters, but at one point for most of the show, he's going up against this other extremely intelligent person, and in a way it's kind of 2 geniuses kind of facing off. And when I watched Death Note, I'm like, man, this, like, it just felt so more effective to me in terms of that kind of dynamic. And so all I'm trying to say is Death Note greatly contributed to my Breaking Bad sort of like falling in its prestige to me. But going off what you were your first impressions were, I felt that too, actually, like, because I knew before I watched it, I was like, okay, I get the premise. It's this guy this like kid who gets a book, and you can write a name in it, and people die. And to me, I remember vividly thinking, like, what can you do with that? Like, like,
here's the thing, like, instantly I kind of went through the things that Light went through. I was like, okay, if I did write down criminal, like, well, first instantly, of course, who I thought of to get rid of, I was like, no, you can't. If I did get rid of that person, like, instantly, the person who succeeds him is worse than him. So then if I do that, I'm stuck with the worst option. And then that's 2 heart attacks in quick succession in a very small, like, microcosm. Too many people are gonna be like too many eyes are going to be on it. So like I start having all these thoughts, and sure as shit, that's how the episode starts breaking down. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's only the first few episodes, so I'm not giving too much away. But Light, the protagonist, he begins to write down the names because he sees himself as a good-natured guy, like an altruistic sort of noble person, and his plan is to just rid the world of bad people. So he just starts doing that. But in doing so, I see, that's the thing. He's too smart for his own good, I think. And like I said, I've only seen the first 5 episodes, but as I'm watching, I can see these little mistakes that he's making because he just believes that he knows better than everyone, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, this isn't a spoiler or anything. It's just generally like about Light as a person is like, on one hand, he is this, genius kid.
But he's also a kid.
Well, yeah. But I guess what I'm trying to say is like he is this kid, but while he is this genius of some level, he does. I think he sort of. I mean, it's been a while since I saw it, so maybe I'm misremembering. But he does kind of take for granted that he has a huge advantage over L. In terms of like how in the world could L figure out that there's this supernatural thing, So L, Light is a genius in some level, but he also he got this supernatural
he's got a leg
weapon
up.
fell into his lap. Yeah, exactly. So
and L, he's doing this all like with his wits, which I mean, there's some twists and turns within the first couple episodes regarding L that I kind of saw coming, but just what?
Yeah. Oh no. No, I mean, go ahead.
Well, no, I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm just saying, like, there's some twists that I saw coming with L, but I don't like the fact that he's just this. Right now, he's just a guy in a room, and he's got this other person who, like, what the fuck? I'm wondering what his deal is. Like, is he a child billionaire? Like, who is this person that he has that works for him that brings this laptop everywhere? Like, there's so much more I want to know about L. Because we have all we know about Light, and we see his family and everything, but like L, he's just like this figure out there, this entity. I don't know.
Right. So I can't remember by episode 5. I mean, do you have you like seen L?
Yes.
I can't remember.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
You've seen you see him in a room with a laptop. Well, it's like an old school MacBook or whatever.
Right.
And you sort of see like the bottom of his face, and his hair is all shaggy, but you don't really see like his full face quite yet. I think I saw it on the artwork, but I like tried not to pay too close attention just in case of spoilers.
I think actually I remember now the moment you get like the full like L reveal or whatever. But yeah, man, I mean, this is going to be super. There's so many like things about the show that are like big kind of contentious things amongst fans in terms of like, obviously the big one is just like L versus Light, like who is, I mean, there's people that just absolutely hate Light, and then there's people that like adore him, and there's another, like, without really saying anything at all, there's another like big massive contentious thing about the show that's like a huge debate, and I'm like firmly on one side, but
okay,
I think it'll be apparent when the time comes. But yeah, I'll definitely want to check in week to week to see where you're at with the show.
All right, yeah, I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, nice. Anything else?
Nothing that I'm really watching right now. But I did just read a new comic that I had been waiting for the past few months, from Image, called Department of the Truth by James Tynion IV. It's sort of like a conspiracy theory thriller type book. It dropped last week. Yeah. I don't want to give too much away for anyone who is interested in reading it, but I will say that if you're into thrillers, if you're into conspiracy theories, if you're into like pop culture, that type of stuff, this book is definitely worth the read. The art, I'd say, is like a solid. I don't know. I'll put some examples up on the Twitter maybe, but it's sort of this abstract, like loose image type thing where everything is sort of shot or seen through like a grainy filter, through like old timey lens, almost like it almost always looks like an old like conspiracy film, like you're watching a bootleg of a bootleg of a bootleg of a bootleg of a conversation that you're not supposed to be seeing.
Yeah.
And that's what all the panels look like, which is pretty interesting when you get to the last bombshell panel of the last page, which I will not spoil, so please go check out Department of the Truth. Yeah.
Nice. All right, cool. Yeah, so I've been watching a few things just within the past day or two. My week was pretty full, so I didn't have a ton of time to devote to stuff. But
why was your week so full, Nathaniel?
I just had a lot going on. I got a lot going on with this new kind of weird job kind of thing that I have going on. I'm not like officially an employee yet, but it's kind of like
this is still the cartel
trial run internship. Oh, what with my the
yeah? You still doing the cartel, or is that what you're talking about? What are we talking about? This new job? What is this?
No, I think I brought it up on the podcast. It's like I've been working with this guy who owns he runs a video production company.
Oh, that dude that you helped move. Yes. So he brought you on?
Yeah. So, I'm like, it's weird. It's like we sort of set this like 90-day sort of like introductory period window where I'm going to get paid for some stuff, but I'm like not an employee. I'm sort of just like a contractor for these 90 days. And then at the end of the 90-day period, we'll kind of like reassess and see where we want to take it from there. But it's just like he got this huge contract with this company, and so like things are really ramping up, and I've just sort of been like dealing with all kinds of stuff.
So what's like your day-to-day look like? What do you do
for that? I mean, right now I'm sort of like editing a lot of video stuff. There's all these different like deliverables, and I'm just watching like hours of footage because it's kind of like it's kind of commercial work or kind of like corporate video-ish work, but it's very like documentary style. Like it's kind of hard to explain. I mean, It's kind of weird, but yeah, it's just like a lot of footage watching and assembling and editing stuff, and yeah, I don't know. It's a bunch of weird shit, but yeah, I was just doing that all week.
Okay. Well, sorry to take you off your track, but what have you been watching?
Yeah. So right. Just some of the lighter stuff, like there was, I mean, it is pretty much horror, but I brought it up a few episodes ago, but there was a couple new chapters that I had missed of that manga Chino Wadachi that I talked about a couple episodes ago. Those were good. Yeah, so one anime that I actually started watching it maybe 2 or 3 years ago, but I only watched like a few episodes and I didn't keep up with it, but it is a horror anime that I knew about called Mononoke. Have you ever heard of it?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so I've heard a lot about it over the years, and yeah, I tried to give it a shot a couple years ago, but I just fell off it for some reason. But so I figured this might be a kind of thing where maybe every week I watch like 1 or 2 episodes and maybe give my thoughts, or maybe not. I don't know. Like if you're not going to watch it, maybe I won't keep updating everyone on it. But it's it's really interesting. And
well, yeah, pitch it to me. Yeah. I might want to check it out.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to try my best to pitch it. I know I got to figure out.
I'm a tough sell.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's definitely a horror anime. That's the simplest way I could put it. But it's really like the style of it is not what you'd expect from like when you think of horror, I guess. It's like the style is extremely distinct, and I've never really seen another anime use this type of style before. I'm not sure. So the style is like, for a horror anime, it's very colorful. There's actually like tons of color to it. It kind of like, before I talk about the style more, the premise is kind of like, I think it's sort of like an anthology series. I think it's basically all set in kind of like feudal Japan. So it's kind of like these old traditional like Japanese ghost story type of deals. If so, that's kind of like the premise of each episode. But yeah, the style is like, it's super colorful. It kind of like, everything has this sort of like rough paper texture to it. Like all the characters and the environments are very like flat, like it's like almost like it's kind of traditionally drawn in kind of that old Japanese like watercolor style, or however you'd, you know. So yeah, in a way it kind of like is opposed to like a typical horror feel, but there's something about it that works in a way, and it's not a traditional feeling of horror. I would say like a lot of the horror elements kind of come through like the sound design. Like there's a lot of like, it's very disorienting. Like, at least like, I only watched the first episode, but the sound design is very like, there's these quick like sound cuts of just this random sort of thing, and then it like takes you back to the normal like scene that's going on. And
what's this on? Crunchyroll, Funimation, Hulu?
Yeah, I didn't check everything, but I was watching it on Crunchyroll.
Okay.
So yeah, it's called Mononoke, but yeah, it's just a really weird, interesting style. It's probably not for everyone, but it's a very unique brand of horror. But definitely really cool, and I want to try and stick with it and get through the whole thing this October. So yeah, I mean, if you want to...
How long is it?
They're just typical anime episodes, 30 or
Well, no. I mean,
the whole thing. It's
yeah.
It's like, I think like 12 episodes. It's just like one season, like 12, 13 episodes, I think.
All right, I'll look into that.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, that's one thing I started watching. Another thing that like, so there's a few things I just wanted to talk about. One I just read, so it's like, this is some manga stuff. But I mean, so have you ever heard of the manga artist Junji Ito?
You know what? I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Just for conversation's sake. Because you know I have, and you know I'm a big... What's his name?
Junji Ito.
Yeah, you know I'm a big him fan.
Right.
But for the conversation, I'm going to say no so the listeners have something to hear.
Oh,
so
sure.
Tell me about him.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, for everyone except for Dom, Junji Ito is this kind of, I mean, he is like a huge name in manga, like especially horror manga, like he exclusively does horror stories, and he writes and illustrates everything himself. But yeah, I mean, he's just like this like legendary horror manga artist, and I've read like he kind of specializes almost in like short stories, like short horror stories. So a lot of his stuff isn't very long, which is cool if people just kind of want to get a sense of what he's all about. But he does have some longer works like Uzumaki, which I haven't read all of, but I've read some of it. And that's great. But yeah, so I kind of wanted to just pitch like 3 of his short stories to the audience, since I know you've already read them all.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But I just kind of want to pitch these 3 short stories really quick, because these are pretty easy to find and just read really quick. These don't take a huge these aren't a big commitment at all. So the first one is called The Enigma of Aragama Fault. And this one, like, it still fucks me up to this day. I think I read it like a year and a half ago or something, but Man, it's so basically the premise is somewhere in Japan, like in the wilderness sort of, or like on this mountain range, there's this fault line and there's an earthquake, and this half of this mountain like splits in half, and this huge flat rock face is exposed, and all throughout, like all across the surface of the rock face are human shaped holes. And it split like that, like no one cut them, so they were already in, like, embedded in the rock. And so like slowly people find out that this has happened, and it becomes kind of this viral story, and people just start flocking to this fault line to like see it for themselves. And basically once people, it's kind of all told through the eyes of this like young kid who goes to look at it. But essentially, like, once certain people get there and they see all these human-shaped holes, like in the rock, some of certain people start like going crazy, sort of, and they become obsessed, like trying to find their hole, quote unquote. Like, so certain people think that like they're like, this hole was made for me, and they like perfectly slide into the hole, and they just like disappear into the hole, and like people can't get in there to get them out, and one by one, it's like people get infected with this like impulse to like go into these holes. And it's a short story, so I can't say too much more without like, you know, giving too much away. But yeah, it's extremely disturbing. It really, yeah, I mean, he's like the master of like, you turn the page and there's just like this image that you have to reckon with seeing. And that's like, it's pretty brutal. Like a lot of his like final pages are just like something that just like burns itself into your skull, and it's really hard to, yeah. But so that's The Enigma of Aragama Fault. Definitely recommended. One I just read today. I think it's from like, I think it's a more recent one, but it's called Layers of Fear, and this one is like, there's this guy like in the 90s. This like archaeologist or something, and he's leading this dig, and they find this, in a way it kind of reminds me of the Aragama Fault one, but these guys on this dig find this like you know, they dig down like 20 feet or something, and along the dirt like line that they've dug down, it kind of looks like the outline of a face, you know, kind of like when you cut a tree, you see the rings of a tree.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that in the dirt going up. So it's like the outlines of a face going down, 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 down. And at the very bottom, there's like a child's skull. So there's like this child's skull in the ground, and like over top of it are all these layers of like a human face. And they kind of make this discovery, and they're like, I don't know like what to make of this. And then like it kind of jumps ahead to like the present day, and this archaeologist had just died, and like it follows his wife and his two daughters, and like they get into this, they're like driving home from the funeral, and they get into this accident, and like car accident, and this like street sign smashes through the windshield and like slices off half of one of the daughters' faces. And when they're in the hospital, they realize that like his daughter, this archaeologist, like when it sliced off her face in this accident, like she has layers, like going like younger selves, like a younger version of herself is like layers below her outer skin, if that makes sense.
Like
if I'm
one
describing
of those
that.
Russian nesting doll things.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow.
And like the mom becomes obsessed with like a younger, like getting to the younger version of her daughter, and it's like it gets really insane from that point on. So,
like, why do they want to get to the younger version though?
The mom, I mean,
yeah,
she's like she went crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, women crazy.
But yeah, so that one is called Layers of Fear. The last one I'll recommend is called Long Dream, and this one is like more just in the horror of the concept rather than like visual horror, even though there's some disturbing stuff. But basically there's this guy who checks himself into a hospital, and like a psychiatric hospital, and starts claiming that when he dreams at night, he's like fully conscious for the whole dream, and that his dreams last like for like 2 days. So like to him, he's like fully conscious in a dream for a full 48-hour period.
Wow.
And that in his dreams, like all the most horrifying imagery and things that you could imagine are happening to him in this dream. So in his dream, he's just like witnessing pure horror for like 48 hours straight. And the doctor's like, okay, I mean, I get that that's what you think happened, but you know, it was just a dream. And then so every night he wakes up and he claims that his dreams are getting longer. So it goes from a couple days to like weeks, and then from weeks to months, and from months to years. And eventually gets to a point where he's literally dreaming for like centuries. And he's like fully conscious, like experiencing centuries of just pure horror, like every single time he falls asleep. And it starts to like affect his psyche and like his consciousness. So like he starts to like become this being that has literally existed for like centuries. Like experience. It's just like,
well, naturally, yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah, it's a hard one to. Yeah, it's a wild one. So Junji Ito, if you are unlike Dom and have never heard of Junji Ito, those 3 stories would be ones that I definitely recommend.
Oh, don't worry, bro. We're going to tweet this out. I got a recommendation.
Sure.
You got 3. We're going to put them all on a little 4-panel thing. We're going to tweet it out. Reading recommendations for the week, for spooky season. Yeah. We're throwing it out there.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so before we get into the JoJo episodes for this week, we actually this is not like a segment we normally do, but there's actually some rare JoJo news I wanted to get into, if you don't mind.
No, by all means, sir. Extra,
yeah,
read all about it. Let's go.
So yeah, it's not every week that the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure community is blessed with new information about the series, but that's kind of what happened this week, and kind of a little bit of news last week. So essentially, it started out, I think, last week, where on Twitter, one of the artists at David Productions, the studio who produces the show, like this artist was sort of tweeting out these sort of innocuous sort of tweets like, oh, I'm working on something JoJo related. And people were like, oh, part 6, because only parts 1 through 5 have been animated. And people are like, oh, is part 6 confirmed? Is this like a leak or something? And so that's not really news. It's just people, like fans speculating. But then this week, a bunch of more interesting things happened, like official things. So basically, the first thing that happened is there is this new JoJo website. It's called JoJo. I think it's just called JoJo-Portal. But so it's kind of this new website that's sort of like going to act as a hub for the series. It has like all the news you would need about the series, about the anime, about the manga, about the related like video games and stuff. So, you know, that's kind of interesting on itself. I don't think so. There's a lot of like aspects of the site that aren't like completed yet. So I don't know if that would be.
Well, I was just curious because I know you're like a huge JoJo fanboy. If there were a message board and you could join, what would your like JoJo username be?
My JoJo username?
Yeah, like let's assume assuming that you would use a JoJo themed username. You know how people do when they're fans.
Right.
Come on, Nathaniel. I shouldn't have to explain this to you. What would your name be?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a few things I could think of just to humor you, but I feel like it would be like a spoiler.
Really?
Or I would say it and you would just have no idea what the reference is.
Yeah, good point. All right.
And that wouldn't be much
fun.
It
wouldn't. I'll ask in like a month or two. Maybe that'll be better. No, yeah. I mean, what's that? Like 12 episodes? 10 episodes? A month from now?
yeah, I mean we're moving along. We only have like a couple more episodes until we're done with Battle Tendency. But anyways, no message board at the moment. But so, a site on its own isn't that exciting, but it's just kind of interesting. But there are a few interesting details and then one big piece of news related to it. So kind of an interesting thing is that a lot of this, like typically whenever there's JoJo stuff online, like official stuff, it's all in Japanese. Like they don't cater that much to the Western audience, but this whole site is available to read in English. Like it's baked in, like it's not Google Translate.
Now is that English or English?
No, it's
okay.
English.
All right.
So the website caters to Western audiences, which is very interesting. And then there is a new piece of key art that is like brand new key art of all 5 protagonists of all the parts that have been animated, which is interesting. They're putting extra effort into this for Western audiences and just in general. But so the big piece of news that they announced is there's going to be a special live event in Tokyo, I assume somewhere in Japan, on April 4th, 2021, called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure: The Animation Special Event, Joestar: The Inherited Soul. And they didn't release that much information as to what exactly is going to happen during the event, but they say here that the cast of main characters from each part of the series will come together for the first time in the history. So basically all 5 voice actors are going to be on stage at the same time together for this event. And now that's really all the official information we have, but basically what everyone is speculating based on that information and the name The Inherited Soul is that people are assuming that all 5 of the main protagonists are going to come out on stage, do whatever they're going to do, and then basically it's going to be this moment where they reveal the part 6 like voice actor protagonist, is going to come out and be like, hey, it's me, part 6 is happening, just with it being called The Inherited Soul, like this new character is going to inherit
right
the Joestar legacy. So it could not be that.
Do you want to go just in case?
But no, I don't think I need to go. But I mean, I don't think
us,
Japan
like for the
is
podcast,
letting
let's
one
go.
in. Yeah, like to
To
Japan.
Tokyo, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in April, who knows?
I think the borders
maybe
are closed right now.
This COVID thing. Yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe COVID will be a distant memory in April. I don't know. But yeah, we could go live stream it. We could have like Google Translate, just sort of like live capturing what we think they're saying.
All right, or the listeners can foot the bill and start giving us money to go to Tokyo. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
Right. We can start a GoFundMe.
Sure.
Yeah, but so, it's a bit of news. It's still part 6 is not confirmed. If it is though, this is obviously super exciting because come April we should be done and we would in theory be ready to cover that show as it happens, so we could cover part 6 live week to week.
Yeah, but I would have to assume that they would need to what do you think they're working on? You think that they're close to being done with animating it now and they're gonna because I would assume that maybe they're going to announce it in April and then probably roll it out in fall,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that I think it's going to be announced in fall. So, I mean we'll definitely be done with the main everything that's been animated, but whenever this comes out. But I mean, I guess just it's hard to know where they're at with the animation, just because part 5 ended last year. I think typically maybe different production studios are different with how they handle it, but I think typically anime seasons will premiere and they're still working on the final episode. They're not completely done when it starts,
Oh, all
So
right.
it could be a thing where they announce it in April and maybe it's like summer it starts. Like, I don't know. I mean, that's like best case scenario, but yeah, I mean, this is if part 6 is announced, yeah, it's definitely good news just because we wouldn't have to wait another news 4 for years.
Wait, is that how long you had to wait between parts 4 and 5? Was 4 years?
It was a long time. Let's see. Well, what I'll look it up. What were you about to say?
Well, I was going to ask, like, on our show here on Wasteland, ! Anime podcast, are we just doling out news for whatever show we're covering at the time, or are we like throwing out all anime news that we have like as it breaks?
I mean, this is kind of the first time we've done it, so
I know. I'm asking. I don't want to step on any toes here. You're sort of the Tom Brokaw, the Walter Cronkite of Wasteland. So I don't want to. You're the newsman. You're bringing it. You're Scoops O'Hallahan.
Yeah,
I don't want to step on your toes.
I mean, it could be anything we deem relevant. If there's some anime news, like if you got some, I don't know, Demon Slayer news, you want to.
I mean, there was something I read about Demon Slayer, but I was glossing over it. But I saw My Hero. They announced that season 5 was coming back spring of 2021. So there's that. 6 months away, give or take.
Yeah.
You still haven't finished season 4, have you?
No, I gotta get around to it. I was thinking about just like going back and like reading the manga.
What about the movie? Have you seen the movie yet? The second one?
No, I only saw one of the movies.
Yeah, I know.
It was just the first one. Yeah, it was just the first one.
All right. Well, maybe we'll cover the second one on the show. Who knows?
All right. But yeah, I just, for anyone wondering, I did look up part 4 to part 5. The gap was not as large as I thought it was. It was like almost 3 years. So that's
still long.
It is long, but yeah, I mean, so part 5 ended in summer last year. So if summer 2021, it's like 2 years, wouldn't be that bad. You'd hope for it.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's all I got for the opening portion of the show. You got anything else you want to say to the fans before we move on?
No, I'm just glad to be here. Love you guys. Thanks for listening. Really appreciate it. Let's dig into these episodes, Nathaniel. Wait a minute. I do have a question for you.
Okay.
Isn't it your birthday? Like, didn't it? Like, when was it?
Yeah, my birthday was a couple days ago.
The 1st?
Yeah, October 1.
Or the 2nd?
October 1st.
Oh, all right. Cool. Yeah. Happy birthday, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You do anything special?
No. I worked a little bit and then just kind of came home and didn't do much.
No camping trip? No nothing?
Nah, everywhere's shut down and the sky is polluted in California, so.
Oh, yeah, good point. I mean, there was that 1 week of blue skies that we had like 2 weeks ago. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was nice.
It was really nice.
It was nice.
It's beautiful outside.
To breathe in and not.
Yeah.
Yeah, like in California, you're either breathing in COVID, like straight concentrated COVID, or smoke.
Or the blackest ash air.
Yeah. I made, like, in that blue sky period, I made the mistake of getting my car washed to wash off the previous ash. And then, like...
Ha! You fool.
And then, like, 3 days after, it was just recoated. Now I'm just like, fuck it. I'm not washing my car until, 2021.
You can't. I mean, you have to let the rain take it first. Because, I mean, I don't feel like we're going to be through these fires anytime soon. But,
yeah.
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 That sucks, man. I'm sorry. Well,
yeah.
Happy birthday, though.
Yeah, I'm a year closer to 30.
Yeesh.
Yeah, I'm at this point, I'm less than a year away from 30. Could you imagine being 30? Probably kill myself.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine, nor will I ever have to imagine.
Right.
I stopped aging quite some time ago. Yeah, black don't crack. I don't know if you heard. let's get into these episodes, man.
All right, so episodes 16, 17, and 18. Give us a quick spoiler. What are your high-level thoughts on the three of these?
I mean, Lisa, she's cool and all. Kind of upset that they refer to her as the Haman coach instead of the Haman master. What was that all about? A little patriarchy, huh? JoJo, little scoundrel out there sneaking peeks and glances. I loved that he defeated AC/DC the way that he did. Hated. I didn't care for Machina and Logs. What's going on with them? Can we get into them?
Loggins and Messina. I mean, I'm flabbergasted you're not into the two of the most iconic JoJo characters of all time, Loggins and Messina.
There was just so much presumed like backstory with them and JoJo that we didn't get to see. Like, JoJo kept referring to how much of a tyrant I believe he kept saying Logs was, but
I mean, we
saw them prank them once.
We got the at the end of episode 16. 16. We got the end credits were just kind of that training montage.
The training montage, yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. This is what Araki was all about in the early days. It was just kind of like, I don't know.
As far as like training episodes go, I'd say these couple were the weakest that I've seen so far of battle tendency.
Well, wait. What other training episodes were there?
From Phantom Blood. When Joseph was first training with Zeppeli and Ario back in season 1. Or not season 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
okay.
I mean, as far as other training like episodes go in anime, this is like on the weaker side. I'm not saying like I hated these episodes by any means. It's just there wasn't a lot of meat here, not a lot to dissect.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, training montages in JoJo are interesting because I mean, I don't know, who gives a shit. I mean, this is really like the last training montage we're ever gonna get. Like,
really,
Araki isn't not too concerned moving forward with training montages, unless I'm like really forgetting something. Yeah, it's just I don't know. The part 1, like Phantom Blood, and I mean it'll be clear as the series moves on, but like Phantom Blood and Battle Tendency are kind of like Araki's still trying to figure out what his MO is. And yeah, the training montage, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think the episode where they're climbing up the thing is the oily tower is a cool, it's a fine episode. It's not really like a montage necessarily. It doesn't like it covers just like a couple days, but it's yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just we had to see something, and this is what it was, and moving on.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, no. I guess. Yeah, no. We can move on. I like that. Lisa slapped the respirator, the breathing mask on JoJo. What did Araki know, man? What can you tell me? What does he have some hidden meaning in this? Like, how did he know where we would be now in 2020?
Yeah. I wrote in my notes, Araki was definitely thinking ahead. And also it was kind of crazy because like right after he got that breathing thing put on, that mask, like right after that, Caesar was like, "Hey, pretend it's Halloween."
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is the most like relevant episode.
It's fucking weird, man.
We could be doing right now. But yeah, Lisa shows up. What are your thoughts on Lisa as just a character in general? We don't know, like
I like that they say that she comes from parts unknown and she goes by Lisa, and like there's all this mystery around her, but she's got like this entire fucking air supply. Really? Jesus Christ. I love it. I love it. I heard that and I was like, are you shitting me right now? Air Supply Island.
I mean,
yeah. But it's just, do we ever really get any more backstory on Lisa? Not that I really need it. I'm just curious to know if we find out where she came from and how she learned Hamen.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
That's
good
all
to know.
That's all I can say before I spoil something. So yes.
Yeah, no, I don't need you to spoil anything. I just thought it was interesting that they went out of their way to state that she comes from parts unknown and no one knows who she really is. Yeah. And she goes by Lisa. I'm like, okay, I mean, why say all that unless we're going to get the counterpart to that later on? So I felt like that was kind of telling, which is cool.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you, does Smokey ever come back? Like, do they ever? Because I saw that he, like, they popped back over to the States for a minute with Granny Arena, Speedwagon, and Smokey sitting there.
Yeah.
Like, is Smokey just hanging out?
Yeah.
For JoJo, taking care of Arena? Like, what's up?
So with Smokey, it's an interesting character because I think it's kind of, I mean, unless there's I remember, there's certain things I remember about what happens with Smokey and certain things maybe I might be forgetting. But yeah, as far as I know, he's just kind of like, ever since his first kind of encounter with Joseph and getting introduced to Speedwagon and all that, I think he's kind of just been like hanging out, like working in some way. Like he's kind of just like involved in Speedwagon's kind of life. Like he's kind of helping out at home.
All right.
But there is more. There is more that we get with Smokey. I
cool.
I know a lot of people kind of see that character and is like, well, what was kind of the point? And I think the main point was
that's where I'm at right now, and I'm kind of hoping that he pops up more later.
Yeah, I mean, I think like he does pop up later, but I think kind of the point of Smokey was, unless like there's some interview where Rocky states it more explicitly, but I think it was more of just getting introduced to like a way to get introduced to Joseph through the eyes of like a different character, kind of. I don't know.
It's interesting that they chose Smokey and not a Nazi, because Araki seems to love just plopping Nazis down to be bridges to characters.
All right. Do you want to jump ahead to the end of
No.
All
right. I'm just saying.
All right. Well, before we get to that, yeah. So you're not too thrilled with the whole Caesar and Joseph training, climbing up the oil.
No, I'm not.
The oil thing. I mean, what was your issue with the oil tower?
It's not so much that I had like a large issue with it. It just seemed very, I mean, it's cool that that's how they decided to like fix JoJo's problem of being too much of a brute. His Hamen was coming out the palm of his hand. He was forcing it out instead of like shooting it out of the tips where it would be more concentrated. That seemed to be his entire issue, is that he wasn't focusing it correctly. So I understand that climbing the pillar and watching Caesar, he would learn how to do it, but it was just so goddamn boring, man. I just didn't care for it. I'm sorry. Just them inching their way up, and the narration kept saying like how long it had been, and I'm like, Jesus fuck, man, 28 hours and they're doing this shit. Like, he's got poison inside of him. They need to get the ball rolling. And I get that, like, it has to be meticulous. It has to, like, you have to show how much time has passed for the stakes to have mattered. I get it, but I don't know. Just that being the way that they decided to do it, it just left more for me to be desired, I guess, is what I'm saying. I wanted a little bit more out of the training montage, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna like fight back too hard on this. I mean, I don't like think back fondly on on the episode where Caesar and Joseph climb up an oily tower. It's not something I think back upon fondly when it's not that I think back on it negatively. I just don't really think about it.
Yeah, it's just there. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't hate the episode. It's just
I mean,
much there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll grant you that one. It's not terribly interesting. I mean, we know that. I mean, if you're watching an anime, it's pretty clear that there's going to be some situation where your protagonist is put up against the ropes and they're going to defy the training at some.
Yeah, they're going to find their own way out of it.
Yeah, and that happens with Joseph. He does a little freaking flip through the thing. Caesar does it a different way. They're kind of positive and negative. We get more reinforcement of that later between the two of them.
But I think the most important part of that entire like pillar thing was the fact that JoJo almost made it, and then Caesar like threw his arm out for JoJo to grab onto.
Yeah, I was surprised.
That's what I'll say.
Yeah, it was weird that Lisa was like cool with that.
Yeah, after all that bullshit about how the only way you reach the top is with Haman and I'm not going to allow anything else, yada, yada, yada. Caesar does that, and she's like, all right, bet. But I think it's also because she's simping for the boy JoJo, and she's playing a little hard to get. She's going to let him, like, up there, and later on she's going to let him between her cheeks. We'll see.
Oh, God. All right, so that's the vibe you got, that Lisa has got it for Joseph?
I mean, she let him slide on that, so it's either they are fated to be together or they are brother and sister. That's it. Because, I mean, it's Star Wars rules, man. It's either they're Han and Leia or they're Luke and Leia. We'll see.
Right. Okay, those are two very interesting theories. We'll revisit those when
Well, you're asking me to throw some theories out.
Yeah. No, I like it. It.
High AF, I'm thinking Lisa and JoJo. And JoJo was like spying on her. He was creeping on her hard. So that's another thing, man. We got to cancel JoJo. Joseph Joestar is problematic. He's over here sneaking peeks at poor Lisa while she's bathing, unbeknownst to her. So it was the 30s, man. It was a wild time. It was the 30s. Yeah, but things are different back then, I guess. Keyholes were huge.
Yeah, and also, I mean, to be fair, if he wasn't peeping, he would have never seen.
True. He wouldn't have seen Suzie Q creeping.
But yeah, wait a minute. What are your thoughts?
What are my thoughts
about
on Suzie Q?
Suzie
Q. First of all, I watched the dub and the sub like I normally do. Oh God. Yeah, dude.
I'm sorry.
Have you heard?
Yes, I have.
You have heard Suzie Q?
Yeah, it's
Holy
terrible.
Shit. It's like the Swedish Chef and Super Mario. It's wild.
I don't know what direction these voice actors were given for the English dubs. It's bad. But like between JoJo's like English voice and her English voice, it's like the most grating pairing.
I was like, what were they thinking? Like when Suzie Q came on, I was like, oh, so she's Swedish? I didn't know she was Swedish. And I kept watching. Huh? What are you saying?
Never mind. Go on.
No. In the dub, she sounded Swedish, so I thought she was like a Swedish person at first, and then I started to hear like the Italian, like sort of stereotypical sing-songy talking, and I was like, oh, that's not Swedish. She's not Swedish. She's just doing a really terrible Italian accent. Just disrespectful all around. So Suzie Q is very interesting. I dug the name choice again. So I guess she's supposed to be like the little cutesy love interest that JoJo is throwing it at, right?
Yeah. I mean, he has his little moment where he corners her aggressively in the hallway.
Yes,
a very romantic.
Hey, Suzie,
and she
towers over her.
Yeah, I mean, he's like at least 4 feet taller than her.
God.
And she, we
she
see right away.
Business.
Yeah, but we see right away that she's extremely bright. She doesn't recognize him without his mask on.
Yeah.
Which is great. And Joseph, going back to our little, would Joseph get canceled? He makes it very clear that
Hey, but wait.
He's
okay.
What?
Hold on. You're
What?
saying we see she's very bright because she doesn't recognize him without his mask on. Nathaniel.
What?
It's like the pandemic, man. We're out there in the world. Are you telling me you recognize everyone with their masks on? You're telling me you can pick everyone out?
I mean, so my argument for this would be that most people look normal. Joseph is like...
Are you body shaming?
He's like
Joseph Joestar?
No, he's like 8 feet tall. He's wearing the same like crop top, skin tight thing.
It's a very popular crop top in Italy.
In the 30s in Italy, that's what everyone was wearing.
I don't know. I can't speak to that.
And
it seems like it.
His hair is like jutting out in a very like obvious way to the side.
I just don't know how much foot traffic Air Saplina Island gets, so I can't speak to how confused Suzie Q is about who is and who is not in that castle at any point in time. Is all I'm saying. Just give the girl a break.
That's fair. No, I mean I like Suzie Q. She's good.
Yeah,
but yeah,
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying. Yeah, they have their little like cutesy back and forth. He's like aggressive. She's kind of like I don't know what you'd call it.
I was gonna say they have their little banter where she makes fun of his lips or his face, and no, it's nice. But the thing, I get that Suzie Q is cute and she's like the sweetheart, but we get that fight. Okay, I'm jumping around. I know we get the fight with AC/DC and JoJo. I did dig that. I loved JoJo doing the little footwork on the spikes. That was cool. I was trying to find a gif of that, but I couldn't. So if you can, please send it my way or just upload it to the Twitter page because I think it's a cool little footwork thing. Yeah, so JoJo has to, like, the last part of their training is that JoJo and Caesar, they have to beat Logs and Messina, but I believe Logs is killed by AC/DC, right?
Yeah.
For that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So JoJo, he beats the shit out of AC/DC. They're fighting for a while, and AC/DC's what is it? His brainstem and veins, all of his veins in his body, attach themselves to the back of JoJo after their fight.
Yeah. And
JoJo, believing that he was using his brain too much, just walks on back to the castle, and the brain stem and then all the veins attaches itself to Suzie Q and possesses Suzie Q. And like I was saying, I know Suzie Q is sweet and all, and we like her, but I couldn't have given a shit. Kill her, knock her out, punch that demon right the fuck out of Suzie Q, blast her ass right out the window. Do whatever you got to do. Yeah. It's for the greater good.
Yeah, I mean,
are you serious? You don't agree?
I mean, there's just unfortunately only so much I can say in defense of her without whatever.
What do you mean say in defense of her? We're not trying to defend her. What I'm saying is JoJo should have knocked the shit out of her to get AC/DC out of her. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean they did kind of strike her, like him and Caesar, when they finally do it, but I maybe like a straight Hammond-fueled punch to the face might have been fatal to her.
Can't you bring people back to life with Hammond?
You can't. No, you can't bring people back to life.
Maybe it's something I made up in my head. All right. Well, I digress.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in the JoJo universe, no one can be brought back to life. Unless they can. Who knows? The rules are flimsy. I don't know. Okay, but so backtracking a little bit, what did you have any other thoughts about the big fight between JoJo and AC/DC?
No, I thought it was a great like Rick James fuck your couch moment when JoJo kicked, like he ripped AC/DC's arm off, and then it fell on one of the spikes, and then JoJo walked over to it and just kicked it, and it spun and spun and spun with Hammond until like it disintegrated. I thought that shit was funny as hell because it was sort of like fuck you and fuck the horse you rode in on. JoJo is petty. I dig it. And then of course JoJo saying like when AC/DC was telling him he would make a move, and JoJo was saying like he only the only time he moves is when he sees a pile of dog shit on the ground or something like that. I was like, damn, JoJo, all right, I fucks with you. So, yeah, no, I mean, those are really the only things that stood out was JoJo talking shit. Because it was too much of the JoJo trope that we've seen already, that you've told me that we're going to see a lot of your next move is this. It was too much of that going back and forth for me to really enjoy it, but the shit that I did enjoy was mainly JoJo talking shit. Yeah.
I mean, we did get... Of the 2 times that gimmick happened, one of them was sort of turned on JoJo. AC/DC pulled that.
Right, no, that's what I mean. I hate when it goes back and forth like that. I don't need that shit. I hate when... What?
Oh, no, it's still fascinating to me that you have this hang up with this joke, with this gag.
Why?
I don't know. It's just interesting. It's just a weird, interesting thing. That, you know, certain things people have trouble with, and I guess this is one for you. It's just interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It feels a little lazy to me.
I mean, there's I don't know. There's a lot of lazy jokes here and there. I mean,
no,
it was
definitely, I agree.
It was the
but...
80s.
Yeah, no, I have to take that into account. See, I'm judging this. You have to keep in mind. I'm like critiquing this through a 2020 lens. I've never seen this before. I'm coming at this like hard, and you're telling me that you love it and it's the best. So
I mean, yeah, as a whole, it's the best.
Yeah. You know, so keep in mind.
Yeah, I can't sit here and defend. Yet. Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm not like
okay.
I'm not like getting on you about this. It's just. Like, it's just something that, I mean, yeah.
That's what it felt like at first. It felt like you're getting on me for not enjoying it as much. Okay.
No,
okay.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like this Joseph. I like that he, you know, he's a goofy guy. He says a bunch of dumb stuff. He's kind of like a monkey brain kind of guy. I like him for that, but this gag in particular is not like, I'm not going to get it like tattooed on my...
Yeah, no, but that's my issue with it is it doesn't seem to be a fan favorite or anything. It doesn't seem to be that entertaining, but they keep going back to that well. And it's like, okay, we're doing this again.
I mean, it's just like...
It's fine if you're doing it again, but the fact that it goes back and forth between the two, like, I don't need the villain to do it as well. Like, if it's the hero's thing, fine, let it be the hero's thing. But the villain doing it to the hero and then the hero doing it back, it's like, what are we doing here? That's what gets me.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
Fuck, man, this must be like the 10th time I've said this, but yeah, I know. That's my issue with it.
No, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I had any show, I'm sure if people go back and listen to our like Demon Slayer conversation, there was probably a few things like that
several
that
things
didn't
for
work.
You. Yeah.
There's
several
always...
that make complete sense and that work on every level, but you nitpick the shit out of. But yeah, I get it.
Right. Totally. Yeah, totally. Okay, well, so yeah, you hate Joseph Joestar, so moving on.
I love JoJo. I just think he should be canceled in 2020. He is problematic.
Well, who knows if he even made it to 2020?
I doubt it the way that this show is, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a couple other little notes from their fight that I had, quick things. You know, Joseph pulls out I wrote the classic vegetable oil string trick.
That old chestnut.
The old chestnut we've all dusted off once or twice in our lives.
That's the only reason why you wear a wool hat.
Yeah, I was going to say, what did you think of... I mean, it came in handy, but what did you think of the beanie as like a fit for JoJo?
No, that whole outfit, I was going to say I could see you rocking that. Because you wear hats like that in the fall and the winter, and all it takes, Nathaniel, is an ab machine and a couple scissors, and like I can make you one of those shirts. We can get you into that fit. You can rock that for Halloween, like in 3 weeks, my dude.
3 weeks? Really? Think I can get to this?
Well, you're pretty lean already. I mean, I don't know if you'll have an 8-pack like JoJo, but we can. Yeah. Spray paint. We'll spray paint it on.
True.
Like they did on It's Always Sunny. You remember that.
Right, yeah. All right, well, yeah, I mean, the only other thing I had really about this fight is I wrote, "This bitch knew Sun Tzu personally."
Yeah. JoJo quoted him, and AC/DC was like, "Oh, yeah, you mentioned my boy Sun Tzu. I beat his ass, actually. I fucked his shit up. So what you know about that?" Which, I mean, is pretty... You can't really... What is JoJo going to say to that? Like, you can quote anyone all day. These motherfuckers are 2,000 years old.
Yeah.
They were there, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I also wrote down, apparently AC/DC is called the Burning King. And I wrote, since when? Like, that's just like an extra name, I guess.
Yeah, they all have those extra things, man. Like, so AC/DC, he is the Burning King. What else did he have in there? That special move that he had.
Yeah, it was just like the same thing as Wamu, but just the fire version.
Yeah, but he had a name for it. It was Erratic. Oh, no, wait. He was the Erratic Blaze King. That's what it was, right?
Maybe. I didn't write it down in my notes. I did enjoy just kind of like the visual throwback of when it like cut to Caesar and Messina on the wires. Like it looked a lot like Tom Petty and William Zeppeli on the wires in Phantom Blood.
Don't even remember that. I'm sorry.
You don't remember that? All right.
It's been a while. Stained GIF.
I guess so. Right. It's been a while.
Sorry.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess at the end of the fight, what did you think of Joseph's wacky ass string trick where he's just like tying knots with his feet or whatever the hell?
I don't know. I mean, I figured he would find some way to get out of it, and you told me that Araki, he writes himself into these corners, and he just says, well, he does this to get out of it, and you just sort of have to deal with it. So
yeah, like a pretty big meme with Araki today, like that's still very much used today, like throughout all of JoJo, but especially more recently, is just that Araki just writes what he sees. Like if he just reads something interesting, like some concept or some thing, he's just like, how can I just squeeze this into some element of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? So I'm sure this is one of them. He probably read a book back in the 80s about this string, like a knot book, and was like, this can fit somehow, and that's
adorable.
We're all benefiting from it. Yeah, he loves to write about things that he knows, things that he finds interesting. Watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and reading it, it's like an alternate way of reading like a trivia book or something. Yeah, well, last thing on the AC/DC fight, what did you think of like the skeleton unicorn version of him at the end, whatever the hell that was?
I wasn't impressed.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically like doubling back, they have the whole fight with Suzie Q. They figured that all out. Lisa drops some like exposition about the red stone, and then Suzie Q is the one who's the quest giver now, and gets them on their way
to their next mission,
Switzerland, in episode 18 called Von Stroheim's Revenge. Whoa, how is that possible? He's dead.
So way to fucking spoil the entire episode.
Yeah, that's kind of lame.
Yeah, and you don't fucking show him. And so I'm like, okay, where is he then? This entire episode, and I'm just waiting, and he finally pops up the last 30 goddamn seconds, all Robo Stroheim. I'm hyped.
I don't know.
Can't wait. And yeah, now, dude, I was so fucking close to just like powering through and just watching that next episode, and just being like, yo, I called an audible because those other episodes are trash. I needed some heat. But I adhered to the rules of the podcast and I chilled. And yeah. But I am very excited. I want to see what happens next.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we'll talk a little bit about, I don't know. There's not too much to say about this last episode, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, not the most exciting episodes, I guess, but I feel like you're being a little too hard on them. But it's
really
fine. I mean, like, I thought they were fine. I don't have anything like negative to say about them. They're just kind of a couple more steps on the pathway
they just weren't that interesting, is what I was saying. And I don't think that's such a hard critique when you have to find something to say about an episode for a podcast. And my critique is they're just not that interesting, these three. I don't think that's such like a bad thing to say.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, you're right. Oh, well, I guess, yeah. Okay, so yeah, I forgot that like, wait, was the fight in episode 18?
What?
The Suzie Q fight.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Like they fit a
so,
lot. They fit a lot into that episode. And I'm watching all that, and I'm like, where's Von Stroheim? What's happening here? So, yeah, that's partially why I just didn't give a fuck about Suzie Q, is because they're spending all this time on her. And I know Stroheim's coming back. He's in, like, what's his revenge going to be? And then they're in the car, and he says, oh, something, JoJo. And JoJo's like, what's up? How do you know me? I don't know any Nazis. And I'm like, bro, you do. You know several. Mark. Oh, my God, Mark. So, that's my critique, is they were bearing the lead there. And if the episodes fell just a little differently and we were watching 19 as well, these critiques, they wouldn't even be here. You know what I'm saying? Because I would have seen the next episode, which looks to be fire. We'll see. I don't know. You'll have to stay tuned for that. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe if this happens in the future, and maybe we can like
how I feel about cyborgs. Man,
right.
You should have told me. You should have.
Well,
you should have adjusted the watching parameters. I love cyborgs, listeners.
All right. So I think, if this happens in the future, on-air production meeting, if you feel that we watch 3 episodes of anything and that you need one more to like give you enough juice to get through a podcast episode, then I'm up for calling an audible and doing something like that. So,
all right.
For the future, it's
cool.
An option. Yeah, but really quick, you kind of mentioned it for a second, but I would wager that the Joseph peeping on Lisa scene, and like when he says nice, afterwards, I'm pretty sure that's like the Battle Tendency meme. Like that's like the one meme that's like super,
I would not be surprised.
Like, yeah, like Joseph saying nice and giving like a thumbs up or whatever.
Yeah.
That's like an old classic, just an old classic you can dust off whenever you're feeling nostalgic. But Classic JoJo meme. Yeah, I don't know. You know, they go to Switzerland. All that we already talked about the Suzie Q fight and everything.
Hey, did you hear Kars's voice in the dub?
No, I don't think so.
It sounds like Google Translate or something.
Really?
Yeah, it just sounds like
I'll
a
have to
robot
check it out.
voice. It's very monotone, very just measured. It's weird. And then, like, I was listening to the sub. I was like, why did they choose it? Like, I was listening to the sub to see if, like, there was something that they went off of there. But no, the sub, like, you can tell there's inflection. You know, there's emphasis. But not with the other one. Very odd. Yeah.
Weird. Well, what'd you think about Kars's hat?
It was very Dio-esque. You know? Like, it reminded me of Dio's old, like, get up when he was sort of like the Jack the Ripper, or not Jack the he was sort of in disguise back in the what was it, Phantom Blood days, in the old Victorian type thing. That's what it sort of reminded me of when he was walking through the like cobblestone street. It kind of reminded me of Dio doing that back in the day. But I liked his blade arm thing that he had going on.
Yeah. It's
Sick
like
shit.
it's like the blade, and then there's like weird bones. It's like half bone, half blade.
Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, man, Stroheim's back. Thank God.
Yeah, Robo-Nazi.
In cyborg form.
Cyborg Nazi. Love it.
Yeah.
So, is he... I guess we'll find out more, but I'm wondering, like, what his angle is. Is he just, like, out for straight-up revenge? Is he, like, 100% back with the German Nazis because they built him back up from scraps? Is he going to join the JoJo crew? What's happening here?
So, there is actually a little bit of exposition from the manga that helps explain kind of
Okay, lay it on me, brother.
the angle. But before I get to that, yeah, I just think generally that aside from the context I'm about to give, I think generally it's sort of like, I think Stroheim does feel this revenge towards the Pillarmen for what happened to him. But also it's just like, he's not like a part of the JoJo crew, but it's just sort of like JoJo's crew and Stroheim's immediate crew, you know, his soldiers that he's got accompanying him, like serving under him, like they're kind of like two forces that are not aligned, but that are, it's kind of like an uneasy alliance. You know, they both want they both want to stop the Pillarmen, but for Stroheim and the Nazis, so the context that it gives in like one or two panels is that basically saying, like, you know, if in Hitler's mind, if Hitler gets what he wants, and you know,
when
the Nazi
Hitler gets what he wants.
Sure, yeah. When he, in his mind, when he gets what he wants and he is ruling the world, that he knows that he won't be able to rule forever, you know? So in his mind, if the Red Stone of Aja can grant him and like the German people like eternal life, like immortality, then that's what he wants. So that's kind of his goal. So Stroheim is kind of working off that. That's like his official goal, but I think also at the same time he does want revenge against these Pillarmen.
Okay. All right. Well, very hyped to see where the show goes next.
Yeah. A few more little interesting manga insights, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
There was a whole scene, a really weird scene that I'm not surprised they cut at all. So basically, in the anime, there's just a scene at the at Lisa Lisa's like palace or whatever, where she basically just, it's the exposition scene where she's like, "Hey, I got this red stone. This is why they want it. Blah blah blah." You know what I mean?
Word.
But in the manga, it's like done totally differently, and I don't understand it at all. So basically, there's this scene where she heads to like the mainland, and she's just like out shopping, like she's just like having a day on the town, and she's like sitting having like a coffee or something, and this like weird little sleazy pickpocket comes up and he tries to like hit on her, but he's like, picking her pocket, and he steals the red stone. And she's like, hey, he's stealing my stone. And then like Joseph just shows up out of nowhere and like punches him in the face. And then like they're like, oh, he's got a knife. And Joseph stops him with Haman. And then he kind of scurries off, and he's like, what was he trying to steal from you? And then like that's the exposition scene. So it's like they went to all that trouble just to set up her explaining what it was. And then like Caesar comes out of nowhere, and he's like, wait, what's this stone? And then she like explains it to him, and then she's like, well, that's enough shopping for today. Let's go back to my freaking island.
And this is and this is in the manga, right?
Yeah, that was just a cut scene from the manga that they just reduced to just that simple exposition scene. So
hey, sometimes you got to trim the fat.
But the one other interesting thing about that was that when they show up in Switzerland in the manga, and they're like outside, and the Nazis show up on that train, and Stroheim's like lurking in the shadows, it's revealed that the pickpocket is one of Stroheim's like soldiers.
Ah, so that's how they get. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, there was one other like weird scene that they cut. There was just like them, Caesar and Joseph were like roughing up someone who worked at like the post office. They're like, "Where was that package sent?" And they're just like intimidating this guy.
Damn, they're beating up a mailman.
Yeah.
Wow, not a good look.
No, but
Topical.
What are you gonna do?
I mean, one last thing JoJo maybe should get canceled for. He told Suzie Q he'd be back after, what did he say exactly? After her body?
Oh, yeah. He was like, after those like hideous wounds on your face heal.
Yeah, after that beat up face of yours heals up. Oof. I mean, JoJo keeps it real. He's like, yo, I like a pretty thing to look at. He's a monster.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean... But he's so charming, isn't he?
Yeah, he reminds me of Zach Morris. He's like the Zach Morris of the anime world. For all you Saved by the Bell heads out there.
Right. All right, well, we can't win them all. A little bit of a shorter episode here on Wasteland.
Dude,
but
hour and a half. Who's really upset with that?
Yeah, it's fine. But no, I mean... it's good. It's an hour and a half's a solid show. I'm just bummed that you got to wait another week to get to the juicy stuff. You want to see your cyborg?
Oh, I'll watch that motherfucker tonight. I mean,
all right.
I got to wait to talk about it. Doesn't mean I got to wait to watch it.
Yeah, sure. Are you just gonna watch that one, or
I don't know. I might just start watching them all. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, don't do that.
I'm not gonna do that.
Right. But yeah, I mean, like I think I mentioned earlier, I think we only have 2 or 3 more episodes left.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Of Battle Tendency?
Wow.
Well, I mean, of our show.
What?
Of our show. 2 or 3 more episodes of our podcast until we're through with Battle Tendency.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so then there's
so there's like
6 or 8 more episodes.
Yeah, I think there's like 10. Sorry. I think there's like 10 episodes left.
Okay.
Of this season.
All right.
Until season 1 is done and Battle Tendency is
way
done.
Too much math. But okay. All right.
But yeah, we are going to get to a point where there's going to be 2 episodes left over. So it's going to be like 3, and then 2.
Then
of JoJo.
Okay, we might just do 4
the last.
4. Who knows? We'll talk about this later.
Okay, we could do that.
Yeah.
Off-air production.
Yes,
meeting.
definitely.
All right, so thanks everyone for listening. Again, if you want to engage with us on Twitter, let us know if you got any spooky anime or manga recommendations. Our Twitter again is @Wasteland TV. And thanks for listening to the show. Anything else you got to say?
No, not at all.
All right. Well, thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Later.